This series got off to a bumpy start with the recycled jokes, Control always trying to talk to electronic devices, and old stale plots. But the last episode was pretty good, and after seeing this one, I'm not ashamed to admit the show is really starting to grow on me. Jesse is still in search of a job that he can be good at so he can work for money, but as we've seen, he's had variegated results. Today, he's a service station attendant. There's nothing to do right now, so he's watching TV.
You want you know that.
Yeah.
You ready to go? You got 1 minute.
Yeah.
Ready and go.
It's water.
Ocean.
Water.
Ocean is
river,
right.
River.
Pond.
Ocean. River.
Ocean. He said ocean.
It's a boat on the ocean.
Boat is right. Okay.
Where you going?
When the Pictionary TV show appeared, Burt Reynolds became kind of a fixture. He wasn't very good at the game, which just made it that much more entertaining. But the next item has Jesse's attention.
You're reaching deep inside you, know things you've never known. It's been tough, rough going, but you haven't gone alone.
We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
Thanks for a sergeant.
Oh my word, I remember that commercial. My own Army experience was only 18 years behind me, so every time this came on, I cringed a little. Jesse is doing just the opposite. He's found something he can do that will let him fit in.
I'm going to use your restroom, so fill her up and check under the hood, okay?
He's suddenly realizing that nobody's ever told him how to open a car hood. Plus, I'm pretty sure that car is new enough that the hood releases inside, and our customer forgot to pull it. Even so, watching Jesse figure out the second latch should be fun.
I think the oil's okay.
Or maybe he'll bypass both latches and do that. Control is chiding him for losing yet another job. But Jesse says, I've found my niche. I know where I'll fit into this world.
Now, what are the duties of this job?
To be all you can be.
Excellent. As what?
A warrior.
I'm not sure why Control is surprised. He knows there are armies and wars on this planet. It's just about the only thing we humans really excel at. It's natural for Jesse to be drawn to such a career. Let's check out the recruiting office. And it's weird that even 52 years later, this is still giving me flashbacks. I did not see that coming.
Hey, Hurley, remember when we were back at Fort Bragg and you had the night duty on New Year's and that little cashier from the muffler shop came on base and I covered for you the whole...
Don't you even try it, Stryker. I'm not risking my pension on one of your harebrained ideas.
Let's go down the rabbit hole for just a moment. A lot of people think harebrained looks like this. And if you can make sense of how that means foolish or reckless, you're doing better than I am. The word is harebrained. Hare as in an offshoot of a rabbit. It suggests that your brain is undersized and not that capable of thinking things through. What is this scheme of his?
All I'm asking you to do is help me cut some emergency leave orders so I can go take care of some pressing personal business. You call that harebrained?
No, I call that a violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
I thought you were my friend, Hurley.
I am your friend.
That's why he's not willing to help you break military law. Not to mention, friendship only goes so far, and he's not about to go down with you.
Besides, what good is emergency leave gonna do? They're gonna be expecting somebody at Fort Drake.
One problem at a time, Hurley.
However, the solution to all his problems just walked through the door.
So you want the Army, huh? Well, let me tell you, Mac. It can be your best friend or your worst enemy.
I understand that very well.
Yeah, take me. I just get back from overseas and I find out my ex-wife is going to marry some pencil neck. Do they give me a leave so I can go and stop it? Nah. They send me to Fort Drake to train a bunch of goof-up 8-ball babies.
Jesse has no idea what he just said, but he says he has extensive combat experience and knows his way around weaponry. Stryker decides he must have been a mercenary, and now his wheels are turning.
You know, you got much too much experience to start on the ground floor. Maybe you and me could help each other out.
Yes, I would like to help.
You could start out as a sergeant first class, just like me.
Will I get a uniform like this?
Exactly like this.
Now departing for Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, 82 lane 4.
My recruiter was named Owens. He was nice enough, but when I went in, there was a ton of paperwork to do, fingerprinting, verifying identity, sign this, sign that, initial something else, and it took almost a month for everything to get processed. Finally, they put me on a bus to San Francisco in the induction center. There was a stack of paperwork this high that I took with me, and when I got there, they discovered that Owens had forgotten to send some important form with me. He wound up driving to San Francisco from Stockton over an hour drive to deliver it. So that put me way behind everybody else in processing. After a bunch of rigmarole, they sat me down with an older lady who was supposed to enter all that stuff into a computer. Well, she started telling a story to the person next to her, and I am not exaggerating. This story went on for half an hour, during which time she didn't type a single character. I'm sitting there wondering if this is ever going to get done, and meanwhile, everybody else who's shipping out with me is already done. They've been taken to a room for a big fancy swearing-in ceremony, and the bus is ready to leave without me. Finally, her story wraps up and she types my information, which takes another good half an hour. I think, at last I get on with it. Well, no. Granny Gringle typed all my stuff in wrong, so I have to go back to another lady so she can enter it right. Some people might say, maybe you should stop and wonder if somebody up there is trying to tell you something. Trust me, I was way past that point, but I couldn't see a way to back out. Jesse got processed a lot faster than that because Stryker typed out some fake orders and put a uniform on him. He's off to Fort Drake to whip a bunch of goofballs into soldiers.
I have compiled what they call training films. Here are examples of perfect behavior in the U.S. military. Study them well.
Relax. Get through the first 3 or 4 days, you'll be just like the rest of us. That's what it means to be a veteran.
It was too much to suppose he got his circuits on actual training videos. What he has are war movies, especially John Wayne movies. He says John Wayne was a great warrior. And he was, as long as the script said so. Control missed that part. On to Fort Drake, where Sergeant Jesse is on the job.
Sergeant Jesse! Corporal Curtis Tillman at your service. Am I glad to see you?
Where are the grunts?
All business, aren't you? It figures.
Corporal Tillman will be Jesse's good right hand in dealing with the squad.
You know, ever since our first platoon sergeant went Section 8, I've been in charge of Bravo Team, which, in point of fact, should be known as Foul-Up Team.
Where is this Section 8?
Platoon sergeant? Lost it. Took a quick trip around the bend. Nervous breakdown is what they call it.
This really is giving me flashbacks. I had one of those too. It was what finally convinced him to send me home. He's implying that these guys are so hopeless, the sergeant trying to lead them lost his marbles. We have to see what kind of crew could do that.
Where you from, son?
South Dakota, Sarge. I sure do miss it.
Just remember, loose lips sink ships. What's your name, soldier?
Private Adrian Franco.
Why do I get the feeling he's going to be saying private for a very long time?
It's okay, Private.
We are all afraid here.
This one's for Joey.
That's nice to know, Sarge. Joey was always a good friend to Dennis the Menace.
Attention! Bravo team present, ma'am.
At ease, everyone. You must be Sergeant Jesse. I'm Lieutenant Arlene Michael, Bravo team leader and company executive officer.
Something I really appreciated about the episode was nobody cares that she's a woman. She's an officer and their leader. Nothing else is important. So in real life, she was a catalog model for JCPenney and once appeared on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Bring it up to her face and you'll be scrubbing toilets for a week.
Sergeant, the reason why Bravo team is last in training is because these men do not believe that they're the best.
Oh, come on, Lieutenant. Bravo team is the outlaws and orphans. That's us.
See, Sergeant? Self-image problem.
Let's assume Franco is right and these are the guys who just barely passed the exams to get in. So what? I was a high school dropout and recently recovered drug addict. After my Army fiasco, I knew I was going to have to get a high school diploma. I went back to my high school and they literally laughed. But I had been taking some night courses at a local school for adults and I knew they did the GED. So I went there, signed up and took the tests. I passed with flying colors. That was 1971. The thing is, it was 1985 before I found out you could study for it. I was working in the warehouse at a book wholesaler in Denver, and suddenly I came across all these books to help you pass the GED. I thought, wait, you can do that? Well, as usual, nobody told me. Anyway, they might be the dregs, but they don't have to stay that way. This is the perfect place to become something better.
What's important here is that we believe in ourselves. Because belief in ourselves is the first important building block in creating a crack unit that believes in itself. But believe me.
Attention!
Guess who else doesn't believe in themselves? She's trying to convince them to believe in themselves with redundancies in psychology, but she might as well have no self-confidence where her name should be. Jesse and Tillman are off to a place where they can eat and talk about the men.
Corporal Curtis Tillman, something is wrong?
It's nothing I can't handle. It's personal business, okay, Sarge? Be right back.
The personal business is he used to run with a gang called the Striders. He joined the Army to get away from all that and get a life. Your average street gang doesn't like it when you do that.
Deacon.
Curtis, you cutting us off the same way they cut off your hair?
I found a new gang, man. A new home.
Give me that clean and straight business. Once a Strider, always Strider.
Nah, not anymore. Not for you, not for anybody.
He needs to get back in the Jeep and go, make that the last word. But Deacon has this all figured out.
Item 1, you work on a military base. Item 2, what do you find on a military base? Weapons, fool! Item 3, you can help us get those weapons and get yourself a healthy payday.
There's no way I can do what you're asking.
Have you forgot everything, man? The street is everywhere.
You're wrong, Deacon. No deal.
And even having your goon try to sneak up behind him like he's going to do something isn't going to change Curtis's mind. Because with his Army training, he could take them both down right now without half trying. I don't think they know that.
Now, some people would read this file and call you a hero. Now, I, on the other hand, see nothing heroic about a total disregard for authority and blatant insubordination.
I was bad before. I want to be better. That is why they send me here, Captain Butler.
Wonderful. I get them all.
Maybe you should ask yourself why that is. Either the top brass think you can do something with them all, or somebody really doesn't like you.
Bravo team is loaded with the same kind of misfits as you. I've got an exec who can't even make a decision. Now they give me a sergeant who's nothing but trouble from the word go. 2 days before Operation War Bonnet.
Well, Shazam, sir.
Incorrigible. Dismissed.
Operation War Bonnet is a series of contests between their team and another. He really wants to win this thing, but he feels like he's bringing a knife to a soup-eating contest. Jesse has been looking at his file, and I think he's starting to realize he's not really in the Army. In fact, he's not any of the things the team thinks he is.
Now I understand. The man who gave me this job was Sergeant Stryker. He created this history. It says I was a hero in battle, but a rebellious malcontent in peacetime. Disorderly conduct, brawling, and questioning of orders. Stryker made all this up.
See if you can find your enlistment papers in there. Stryker really played him. But he's here, he knows how to do what's needed, he has nothing better to do, so may as well.
Sarge, I was wondering if you'd come downstairs and say hello to my real commanding officer.
Yes, I would be very proud to meet another warrior.
Hey, Sarge, you know...
It's nothing, Corporal.
He has a Walkman under there. Jarring it made it go a little bit. No big deal.
Good as your home cooking, Mama.
Oh, they know I'm the worst cook in the neighborhood.
It's still not as good as your home cooking, Mama.
How about you, Sergeant Jesse? What's your favorite food back home?
Well, we took nourishment in many ways. It was only fuel for the unit.
That's right. Corporal Tillman's real commanding officer is his mama. As it should be.
Curtis didn't join for something as silly as the food. It's because all the girls like the way he looks in the uniform.
Well, Nessa, I like the way I look in the uniform.
And green's a whole lot better on you than that ugly Strider purple.
How to kill a conversation in one easy lesson. Let's see if control can lighten the mood.
Interesting mechanism. Excuse me, but your job seems most... Hello? I'm trying to communicate with you.
Whoa! Where'd that come from? It's too small. It's too fast. It's too erratic. It's got to be a glitch.
Wrong. It's the latest video game. Grab your duck hunt gun and try to shoot the blip. Fun for the whole family.
Such rudeness. Perhaps this will get your attention.
Oh my God. Bogies, a screen full of them. I've never seen anything like that.
The game still has a few bugs in it. When it does that, just restart. Control gives up, and just like that, all the blips are gone. That was genuinely funny, not because of Control's antics, but because of the interaction. Scrambling all those jets had me laughing out loud. This is how it's done, and the show is starting to do it.
Hey, Sarge, I gotta hand it to you. You sure got Bravo team's attention.
Attention is a word used a lot in this army.
Yeah, well, you're not fooling me. I'm on to your game.
You are?
Yeah. The way you use all those corny war movie lines? Don't worry, Brooklyn. You're gonna make it just fine. Sure got him confused, all right.
They're not the only ones. He tries to explain that John Wayne was a great warrior and all Curtis can do is laugh. Jesse is slowly starting to realize that Control did it to him again.
Curtis, who was that man in the red car?
Sarge. It's all in the past. It's another life. It's over.
All right, let's go. Curtis, be careful. The past is not easy to escape. Sometimes it will not let you go.
Oh, he knows that well enough. That's what the encounter by the red car was all about. His past thinks he should be back in that red car instead of in a green Jeep.
Wright doesn't understand why he can't learn to shoot by reading all the Army manuals.
damn it! You know, I am really trying, Sergeant, I swear. You know, I have studied the theory and physics of ballistics. I have factored in the wind, the range, and trajectory. But I just can't seem to get the bullet to hit the target.
Did you find a manual about your hands, your eyes, your concentration? You learn to shoot by shooting. When I was actively hunting, I spent a lot of time at the practice range. I've never read a book about guns or hunting or ballistics in my life, but my family had meat for the winter every year. It's the same with playing a guitar or any other instrument. I can tell you all kinds of things about how a guitar works, and none of that helps me play well, which is why I don't play well.
In combat, there is no time for all these thoughts. There's only time for instinct. Sometimes thinking only gives you time to die.
Great. I spent all my life studying and analyzing. Now he's telling me not to think.
He's telling you, thinking is nothing without doing. Think about it.
What?
He means what I just said. You learn to shoot by shooting. And it starts by not holding it like this. Tillman says maybe you should show them how it's done. Be careful what you ask for, Corporal. Now you guys go do that. The rifle they're using isn't really intended for James Bond type bullet spray, but it can do it when called upon. The reason they were all lying down is because it's more of an accuracy weapon. I'm not sure what they were using in 1989, but in 1971 we had the basic M16. It fired a .223 bullet that tumbled when it hit a target to cause maximum damage. Hit an enemy anywhere in the torso with one of those and he was out of action whether he survived it or not. The idea was to use your ammunition as efficiently as possible. Jesse tore those targets to shreds, yeah. He also expended a lot of ammo and a lot of them missed. It's impressive, but in battle it's a lot less efficient than planning your shots. Plus in battle, the other guys are shooting back, and when you step out into the open like that with your impressive triple threat, they're going to try to make sure you don't get to use it.
No disrespect intended, but you seem to be a very primitive and ineffective weapon.
Elevation 20
Do you mind if I examine you more closely? I'll take that as a yes. Nothing inside. More ineffective than I thought.
Load, HE.
Oh, who are you? Projectile. Highly explosive. Dangerous. Negative outcome.
Fire.
Not good.
That depends on your point of view. I thought it was uproariously funny. His antics still have some cliche elements, but the gags are getting better and better, and we're getting more good originality every episode.
Bravo team's losing again. And what these men need is confidence, inspiration, purpose. Do something.
It must come from the leader. I won't always be here.
She can try to inspire them, but they know when she doesn't believe it herself. They won't have confidence until she does.
A man falls and you run by him, Private Franco?
Hey, his problem, not mine. Every man for himself, right?
Until you need help, Private Franco.
I have never heard that expressed more concisely or perfectly.
Congratulations, Alpha Team. You've set a new course record for this exercise. Well done, Captain Silver. Good work, Bravo Team. You started far behind, but came on strong at the end. Well done.
They're beginning to understand. Jesse has to convince these guys to genuinely care about each other, trust each other, and have each other's backs. Lieutenant Michaels can't convey that because she's dealing with her own demons. And speaking of demons, Curtis just got a phone call.
Okay, listen, Deacon, I told you I'm not... All right, man, I'm cool. Just don't hurt her.
They've grabbed his sister Vanessa under using her as leverage. He'll bring them the key to the armory as soon as he can get his hands on it. Captain Butler has a problem with Sergeant Jesse.
Hero! That's what some people in this outfit are calling you today. Hero! Well, that's not what I call you, Sergeant. You're not a soldier, you're a cowboy.
John Wayne was a soldier and a cowboy, sir.
Hey, that smart mouth's gonna get you into trouble, and trouble's no stranger to you, is it?
That's true, sir.
He can't figure out how Jesse spent 20 years in the Army, but nobody has ever served with him or even heard of him. I suggest he ask Stryker about that. He wrote the fiction.
I am gonna check you out real good. And if I find anything 1 millimeter out of line, I'm gonna be all over you! You read me?
Yes, I read. Butler, U.S. Army. Sir.
Good. As long as we understand each other. Dismissed.
He should write him up for that British salute, too. The way I learned it, you do it open-handed like this if you've ever lost a war. If you have a perfect record, you do it this way. Now, the U.S. lost Vietnam, but we chose not to call it that, so as far as I know, to this day, American soldiers do it the we've never lost way, which strikes me as a lie.
Captain Butler must be one of the best if loud speech is the sign of a good leader.
Yeah, he got me pretty good, too. But Bravo team should be in much better shape by now. I have to take the blame for that.
And how long must you keep this blame?
Sergeant, I appreciate it. But I'm afraid I'm not much of a leader.
To be an officer, you had to pass Army examinations. They know you can be a leader. The only one stopping you is you.
You know, the same thing you keep telling the team. In Jesus' time, they even had a saying for it. Doctor, heal yourself.
Have you seen Curtis? Are your ears open, soldiers?
Sergeant, I think he might have went AWOL.
Where can I find this AWOL?
Oh, come on. That acronym had to be in at least one of the movies Control showed him. For those who aren't familiar with it, it means absent without leave. He left without permission.
He got a call from somebody he used to know at home, and then he was gone.
Curtis used to run with the 92nd Street Striders.
Can these Striders be found on Combat Street?
Yeah, on Combat Street. Right there where he grew up, 92nd and Waverly.
I will bring Curtis back to the base before Operation War Bonnet.
But that's a war zone, Sergeant.
He says that as though it means anything to Sergeant Jesse. He's seen war zones that would put you in a sanitarium.
Sergeant Jesse, you alone in this part of the city? Curtis told me you were tough. He didn't say you were a fool. Where is Curtis?
He went to AWOL. We think he came after Striders.
Curtis? AWOL? I'll find him.
Jesse wants to say something, but I have something to say to him. Watch and learn. To her, I have to say, do you know where your daughter is? Judy Ann Elder is a well-known character actor who spends more time on the stage than she does in front of the camera. Even so, she has a long list of movie and TV credits and numerous awards. One of her most memorable roles was on ER when she played a woman facing breast cancer. That was very real to her because by that time she was a breast cancer survivor. She turned in a performance that folks who see it will never forget. She's been on and off Broadway and pops into a regional theater somewhere as often as she can. She's also done a fair bit of directing. Today, she's a mom in a terrible neighborhood. That will either turn you into a quivering pool of fear or this.
Tommy Wynn, you get your butt back over here. And don't you pull any of that Strider crap on me, you hear? One more second and I'm going to get your mother down here.
Miss Tillman, you don't want to be here.
You're right. I don't. And if you had any sense, you wouldn't want to be here either.
I repeat, Watch and learn, Jesse. She won't take that stuff from anybody, big or small.
Of course it doesn't matter, because you're not going to be here long anyway. You keep on. You'll end up face down in an alley with a bullet in your brain or a needle in your arm. Now you take us to Curtis.
I'm responsible.
That's for sure.
You fight well, Mrs. Tillman.
Damn right.
Like the man said, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Pigeon, you got what you want. Let her go.
Curtis, you're just not getting it, are you? What I want is in that armory. I'm gonna need more than a key to open it. I'm gonna need you.
They need a way to carry the stuff without looking suspicious. That's where he comes in. And since they're still holding Vanessa, he doesn't have much choice.
There they are! Here we go.
If those stances are supposed to intimidate Jesse and Mama, they're not working. Try something like this.
Where is Curtis?
Mama, what are you doing here?
Curtis, you are AWOL. I am here to take you back.
Curtis, you have a chance in life now with real friends like Sergeant Jesse. Don't mess up.
Why don't you go home?
I'm shocked that she didn't slap him for that.
I'm never going back, Jesse. I'm tired of this man's army. I'm tired of foul-up team, and I'm tired of you.
You are a warrior, a soldier.
Not anymore. I'm a strider. Once a strider, always a strider.
Nobody's asking why the sudden change of heart. Too often, nobody asks why anything. But the only way to gain true knowledge, understanding, and wisdom is to find out why things happen, why people do what they do, why things turn out a certain way. Several years ago, a giant mudslide buried an entire town not far from here. While rescue workers did what they do, state and other officials were asking the most important question: why did this happen? What was the cause? They could dig out, rebuild, whatever they want to do, but if they don't know why all that mud came loose, there's no reason not to think it could happen again. They sorted out what loosened the hillside and what could be done to prevent such a thing in the future, not just there, but in a lot of other places, and the state began taking steps to learn from that event and try to prevent others. It all came from asking why. Right now, Mrs. Tillman is too upset to think of asking, and Jesse was trained to react, not think and ask questions.
Oh my God, it's Vanessa!
Again, I have to ask, do you know where your daughter is and why don't you? War zone, remember? Curtis suddenly dumps the army for his old gang and Vanessa isn't home. Do the math. Jesse will do the rest.
Mouthy for a little girl.
Oh, no.
Vanessa, what are you doing here?
Mama, they used me to force Curtis to steal guns from his unit's armory. You gotta stop them. You gotta help Curtis.
We're fine. Just get to the armory.
The first step would be to let him know Vanessa is safe. The next step would be to let the Striders know they aren't.
Lieutenant! What are you sitting on your duffs here for? Their teams are halfway to their objectives by now.
I think there may be a problem with Corporal Tillman and Sergeant Jesse, sir.
Lieutenant, you move your team out and secure your objective now!
Yes, sir. Follow me! Double time!
He did say she can't make a decision. Obviously, that's what she has him for.
I'm supposed to take this hunk of junk over to the target range.
Better hurry, Corporal. War Bonnet's already in full swing.
That's not what the truck is for. The Striders are hiding in the back, and there's lots of room for stolen weapons.
Where are you, Bravo team?
Jesse, this is Lieutenant Michaels.
They're stealing weapons from the armory. I'm going there now.
Lieutenant, I need your help.
But Jesse, I just can't. I mean, what can I do?
You have weapons and you have the individuals to operate them. Figure it out.
Jesse? Come in, Jesse. Damn. Something's wrong. We better call headquarters.
Begging your pardon, man, but I don't think there's time. Sergeant Jesse needs help now.
All right, Bravo, let's move out. The armory's that way.
She made a decision on her own. Captain Butler should be proud. She decided to abandon her mission and go do something else, but it's a decision. I guess just about any long straight stick can become a jousting lance if you hold it right. Remember how I said that rifle is for accurate fire? Not if you hold it like that. With a strong leader giving decisive orders, look what this team can do. Deacon and his pal are abandoning their team and making their own escape. Someone help me out here. I'm not sure what those vehicles are and what they're for. Right now they're for a car chase, but you know what I mean. Jesse saw what's happening, so he jumps onto Curtis's vehicle. Since Deacon has no idea where he's going or how this base is laid out, he leads them right onto the artillery practice range. He doesn't know that, so he thinks they're bringing out the big guns to splatter him. At least that's what would be going through my head right before I turned my skivvies into a white flag and started waving it out the hatch. If this was World War II, he'd open the hatch and drop a grenade down it. But one of the main things he's supposed to do here is not kill anybody. So step one is stop the car. Or make it go in circles. That works too. Step two, open the can and pour the goodies out.
I also love the easy opening can.
Who are you, man?
All I can be.
He's Sergeant Jesse. It's right there on his uniform, duh. He just kept a lot of high-powered weapons from falling into a lot of wrong hands. How is Captain Butler going to punish him?
Sergeant Jesse, you disrupted Operation War Bonnet, took action without authority, placed your men in a dangerous situation to cause severe damage to U.S. Army vehicles. Damn fine job, Sergeant.
Ew, I think I'd rather have him mad at me than face that smile. He does have one other paper that he can't tear up, an honorable discharge.
Hey, Jesse, what's happening?
Striker.
Did you have a lot of fun?
I'm being discharged.
Honorable, too. That wasn't easy with your record.
The captain said he'd never seen a discharge come through so fast. That's because it's as phony as his original orders. I can picture some bean counter a few years down the road auditing the base's records and coming across the short but tumultuous career of Sergeant Jesse. Maybe they'll write a book about it or make a TV show. Marshall Bell will always be Webster to me. When I hear that voice, it's the first word that comes to mind. Twins is one of those dumb movies that I like anyway, and he was a good part of the reason.
Hope there are no hard feelings about your leaving.
No, my work here is done. Did you solve your problems with your former wife?
Sure did, and I'm really happy about that, too.
Then you are together again?
No way.
Don't try to figure it out, Jesse. Just go with it. But here's a nice little send-off.
Now Bravo team was second rate.
Now Bravo team was second rate.
They were just as far from Section 8.
They were just as far from Section 8.
They were whips and fools and not too mean.
They were whips and fools and not too mean.
So Sergeant Jesse hit the scene.
So Sergeant Jesse hit the scene.
Eyes, right.
Sound off.
1, 2.
Sound off.
3, 4.
Bring it on down now.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Spouting all that John Way jive.
Spouting all that John Way jive.
Sergeant made us come alive.
The sergeant made us come alive.
None of us will be the same.
None of us will be the same.
Sergeant Jesse was his name.
Sergeant Jesse was his name.
For a warrior, it doesn't get much better than that. But speaking of better, the past couple of episodes are really showing promise. As we know, the show didn't make it, but it's beginning to reveal what it can do. Usually when a show gets dumped after half a season, it's because the show is awful, and at the beginning I thought that was going to be the case here. Now I'm not so sure. That means I have to start asking why again. Aw, darn. Sure, why don't whistle about the demons that get